The winner of this game in the AFC could be the #1 overall seed. Miami visits Baltimore. We talk about it next on DJ Football. He is Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network. This is DJ Football presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. You make that initial deposit. They match it up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round for that deposit match. Code next round at MyBookie.ag. What is up, DJ? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this one, man. Last week I thought we had a heavyweight matchup between the Niners and the Ravens. Ended up being lopsided, and now the next round of heavyweights square off here as Baltimore heads back home and welcomes a Miami team. So this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, let's start with the road team. The Miami Dolphins coming off that win over the Dallas Cowboys. They are the #2 seed, solidly the #2 seed right now, locked into the playoffs. But their path to the #1 seed involves a must-win game here in Baltimore. As a lifelong Dolphins fan, and I'll tell all you Baltimore fans, that's who I am. I'm a lifelong Dolphins fan. This is kind of the way I wanted it to play out. I knew Baltimore wasn't losing 2 straight games, so I kind of wanted them to beat San Francisco to come in off an impressive win like that. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's just how I felt about this.
Yeah, riding high, no doubt. And this has been a year where just when you start to buy in on a favorite, it feels like they stumble. Yep. It's happened throughout the entire season. So a short week for the Baltimore Ravens coming back after that Monday nighter, a really physical battle where I'm sure they probably got back into Baltimore around 6 a.m., if not a little later. So short week for them. An emotional week last week in Miami coming off of a home win. Should be feeling a little bit better about themselves going into this one. But, man, you talk about contrasting styles in this one. It doesn't get any more polar opposite than these two.
Well, it really doesn't. Now, one thing Miami has to worry about is the injury to Jaylen Waddle. It's been described as a higher ankle injury, maybe not the high ankle sprain, but it's not just your normal shin. They initially called it a shin, not just a normal turned ankle. This one is a little bit more difficult, and that has been a storyline for Miami of late. You've had Waddle playing, Tyreek Hill not playing. Now there's a possibility you get Tyreek Hill playing and no Waddle. When they're together, it's as big a handful as you can find in the NFL, but one of those guys being out changes that offense a little bit.
Yeah, you can't dictate coverage. You know, the good news is they have been able to still find explosive plays elsewhere with their receiving group. It's a pretty deep group. Those two at the top are the headliners. I think, to me, they're going to have to come out and be a little balanced in this game, though. I think the run game is going to be huge. If you get out there, even as well as Tua's played, and even if you had a healthy Waddle, I don't think you want to be out there when everybody in the stadium knows you have to throw the ball. I think you can ask the 49ers how that went last week. So do not be a one-dimensional team.
You know, there was so much talked about with Tua taking the jiu-jitsu in the offseason to learn how to fall, and people made a lot of jokes about him having to learn how to fall, when in reality, the formula for keeping him upright for Miami has been him getting the ball out quickly. It is so hard to get pressure on Tua because the ball gets out so quickly with his anticipation with Hill and Waddle.
Yeah, I saw it firsthand. First game of the year against the Chargers there in person, where Joey Bosa was unblocked on 3 or 4 plays, and he still couldn't get there. The ball was gone. So it's how quick he operates, how quickly he sees things. Now, it's going to be challenging this week because with Baltimore, they changed the picture really well with Mike McDonald in that defensive front. So he's going to have to be able to see things and react real time post-snap. Maybe more so than he has in any other game this year. And they pack the middle of the field. That's how they play. And watching this Dolphins team as much as you do, they live on slants. They live on skinny posts. They live on working in that middle of the field. It gets real muddy with the way the Ravens play defense.
Yeah, I think Tua throws the slant about as well as anybody. I mean, it is on the money every time. He anticipates so well. So, yeah, taking away the middle of the field. And that's where they made a living a little bit against the Cowboys, especially with Durham Smite, which is interesting. Yeah. Because the tight end has not been a big part of this Mike McDaniel offense in his 2 years in Miami. And then out of the blue, Christmas Eve night, Durham Smite has the game of his career.
Yeah, good timing, right?
Absolutely.
Look, they're going to have to find other ways to continue to move the ball down the field, especially as you get deeper. And you really look at the Dolphins' schedule. These are playoff games. It started last week. It continues from here, and then it finishes up with Buffalo. So in playoff-type atmospheres, they talk about trying to make you left-handed. Their teams are going to try their best to throw everything at Tyreek Hill and be underneath him, be over the top, try and bracket him, try and take away some of those things that have been bread and butter for the Dolphins. So other guys have to emerge, other guys have to step up, and it was nice to see it happen from the tight end position last week.
The last time these two teams met in Baltimore is one of the most remarkable comebacks I've ever seen. Miami was down and out. The game was over, and they came back in the second half to get the win. You don't want to put yourself in that position against this Baltimore team at this time of year. You fall down a couple scores, you are in deep trouble. Just ask San Francisco.
Yeah, and not only can they do it with some rushers, I think Kyle Van Noy just set a career high. He's got 7. It looks like Clowney is in the perfect system for him. He's taken off. But then, they can blitz those linebackers and they'll blitz their secondary players. The health of Kyle Hamilton, as we're recording this, is a little unknown. We'll see what that looks like for him. But yeah, no, they can make life miserable by changing the picture and having a bunch of rangy athletes all over the field.
All right, let's talk about Baltimore in just 1 second. And the guy that is now the Vegas favorite to win the MVP of the NFL after one flip of a 4-interception game by one quarterback and a really good performance by another one. This is DJ Football. It's presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. They match that sign-on bonus up to $1,000, and you can use that money right away at MyBookie.ag. In fact, you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie.ag. Just use code next round to get that sign-on bonus and get some free money to play with right there at MyBookie.ag. Also, Manscaped.com. They make great products like this. This is the Handyman. It is a compact razor, easy to travel with. You can use it at home as well. You get a great shave from the Handyman. They got great products like the Beard Hedger, which takes care of the facial hair there. It's got the dial-up guard so it doesn't pop off. It's got the Weed Whacker, which takes care of the nose hair and the ear hair so you don't look all unkempt when you're going out in public. And then there's the Lawnmower, which takes care of the full body, including the undercarriage. You can cover that undercarriage with their great boxer shorts, the male body products, all there at Manscaped.com. And because you are watching us on DJ Football, you're going to get a great deal. DJF20 is the code to get 20% off your initial order at Manscaped.com, code DJF20. So we went into that Monday night game, Baltimore at San Francisco, with Brock Purdy being the leader in the NFL MVP race. All it took is one night to flip that around, and all of a sudden it's Lamar Jackson, and rightfully so. He might be playing the best ball of his career right now.
Yeah, and statistically, it doesn't jump off the page. But when you watch that game, there was no question about who was the best player in that football game and who made the most impact. Lamar, the stuff he's doing off schedule, when you need him to take off and go, he can take off and go and make plays with his legs. But the off schedule stuff, then being able to keep your eyes downfield. And now, I don't think he's played with a better assortment of weapons. And that's considering Mark Andrews is out. I still think this is an unbelievable group. You're seeing Zay Flowers make plays each and every week. Odell Beckham's doing his thing. They've got a whole host of guys that are making plays for him. So it's been impressive to watch him just kind of spray the ball around the yard a little bit. And somebody who's playing with tremendous confidence. And who else would you want on the field if you're an offense and you're in a key moment of a game and you've got a 3rd and 4 to 6 at this point in time? He's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare to deal with.
So many different ways he can beat you. You mentioned Zay Flowers. His footwork after the catch, man, he is so loose. There was one, I believe it was a first quarter catch. I think it was a 5-3 game at the time. He makes 2 defenders just completely whiff. I mean, his moves after the catch are something else.
Yeah, you've got Bateman as well. Likely the tight end has played really well. So, I mean, they've got a whole host of guys. But to me, I think, and I've been around that team for a long time, I think Zay Flowers, you look at Steve Smith's impact when he went over to the Ravens, they're very similar in how they play. And I think when it's all said and done, Zay Flowers has a chance to have the best career of any wide receiver that's ever played for the team. That's how talented and how gifted he is.
But when you say Baltimore Ravens, you think of the other side of the football. And the way that defense played, creating the 4 interceptions that Brock Purdy threw to knock himself out of the MVP race, that was that defense that created those interceptions. They played a spectacular game out in Santa Clara on Monday night.
Yeah, it was a lot of 3 deep, so the middle of the field is closed, and then you've got 4 underneath. And then we've talked about this previously. Other teams have neglected the off-ball linebacker position, and the Ravens have invested in it. And when you watch Patrick Queen fly around that field, making his plays, which is pretty impressive. Then you see Roquan Smith doing the exact same thing next to him. And you have Kyle Hamilton, who can move all over the field and be kind of that chess piece. And Marcus Williams, who they paid a bunch of money as a safety. Down the middle, where so many teams want to live, including the team they're going to play in this ball game, I don't think there's anybody better than the Baltimore Ravens.
1 seed on the line. If the Miami Dolphins went out there, the 1 seed. If Baltimore wins this game, they're the 1 seed. 1 seed on the line. up in Baltimore, early CBS window Sunday, the best game on Sunday, Baltimore playing host to the Miami Dolphins. DJ Football is presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on. You make that initial deposit. They match it up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. And don't forget your discount code at Manscaped.com. Code DJF20. DJF20 gets you 20% off your initial order at Manscaped.com. Same place you get this interview, this show, Disrupt the Media. We have also got a breakdown on that Detroit at Dallas game and Minnesota Green Bay for potentially a playoff spot. You get both those the same place you get this show. He is Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network, and this is DJ Football.